New Mexico Congresswoman Yvette Herrell, who sent that letter, joins me now alongside Florida Congressman and Afghan war vet Michael Waltz. Welcome, both of you. Appreciate you joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right, I'm going to start with you,
Of
course. I'm going to start with you, Congresswoman. You were just at the base. What did you see? What did you learn? And what gave you concern enough that you want to write this letter to the president?
Well, I just want to tell you the humanitarian effort at Holloman is amazing. It's Herculean what they've done. And I want to be very clear. There will be 5,000 Afghan refugees at Holloman, and there are 14,000 at Fort Bliss, both being housed in the 2nd Congressional District. But I will tell you, the men and women that have worked at Holloman to make this happen, the housing, phenomenal, and my hat's off to them, and I'm so proud of our military. But on the other hand, we have a looming crisis, and that's the vetting process. Just to echo some of the guests you had on earlier, we know the vetting process is atrocious, and I don't think it's fair that we're putting Americans at risk. Our #1 priority should be bringing every American home from Afghanistan, and our second priority should be keeping every American safe on American soil.
Congressman Waltz, I spoke with your colleague, Congressman Tom Tiffany from Wisconsin. He toured one of the bases in Wisconsin and said he was just horrified by what he was seeing, including that people could just walk right off the base.
Well, you know, Rachel, I want to be clear that the Afghans that have been vetted, the SIVs, their families, you know, they stood with us. They were willing to take a bullet, and they put their entire family's lives on the line. But, you know, Republican and Democrat, those of us that served there, started back in April. As soon as Biden made this announcement, we sent letter after letter, call after call, press conference after press conference, demanding that they start the evacuation back then. Before we closed all our bases down, before we sent all of our military assets home, and before we got stuck in this awful position, now we have Americans left behind that are being held hostage. Let's call it what it is. They're being held hostage by the Taliban, who just put a serial hostage taker, a terrorist by the name of Siraj Haqqani, in charge of their own borders, deciding who can stay and go. We have a majority of the SIVs, the State Department has admitted, have been left behind. And then so many others that helter-skelter were just desperate to leave, and I don't blame them wanting to escape the Taliban either, that we don't truly know now who we are. So we advocated to send them to Guam. We advocated to send them to other military bases or other countries. We should have started this process a long time ago as part of the strategic decision making. Instead, we've just had failure after failure after bad decision after bad decision. And now we don't have the people out that we needed, and we have people out that we don't know who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it usually takes about 1.5 years or 2 to clear an interpreter, let alone someone who maybe didn't even help the United States, and we have no information about them. I'm going to just stick with you really quick, Congressman Waltz, because we got out of Afghanistan leaving I mean, they're debating whether the people left in Afghanistan, the Americans, are hostages or not. I tend to agree with you that they are. But there was an actual hostage that we knew about prior to this withdrawal. His name is Mark Ferrix. Why was he not part of the deal to get this American out before the withdrawal, since now the Afghans are our partners, or the Taliban?
Yeah, the thing the Taliban wanted the most for 20 years is for all American forces to leave. And for us to close down our bases and get out of there. You would think we could have gotten one American hostage, Navy veteran Mark Ferrix, out for that. And we didn't. And the guy who's taking him, the head of the Haqqani network that's been holding him hostage, is now in a cabinet position in charge of Afghanistan's borders and deciding who can stay and go. They have all the leverage, and the Biden administration gave it to them on a silver platter. And now they're going to give them taxpayer dollars, which are basically a ransom in the form of humanitarian aid. It's just despicable all around.
It is. I only have a few seconds left, but I want to get back to you, Congresswoman. Your district is on the border. How are your constituents dealing with this? What are they telling you? I know they're already worried about the surge of illegal immigrants coming over the border since Joe Biden opened our borders.
Yeah, they're very concerned. They're concerned about the health, safety, welfare of our communities. Not only do we have an open border with COVID-19 unchecked immigrants, illegals coming here. Now we're actually flying people who have not been vetted properly to our Air Force bases and Fort Bliss. So they have grave concern, and we need more transparency. This is what sparked the letter to President Biden today, asking for answers on clarity on how they intend to get our Americans out of Afghanistan and what the process will look like, because by their own admission, the State Department has said that their background checks are not working. And how are we going to vet people through a process that normally takes 14 months in just a matter of a few short weeks when we have people on the southern who have waited years to get here legally? So a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Well, when you get an answer from the administration, I hope you will reach right back out to us. We really want to know if there's an answer to that letter. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.